When it comes to intimacy issues, we all need support. I'm here to help. Like the first time I talked to Kevin and Jackie and I asked, "How often are you guys connecting?" Kevin said, "Ugh, hardly ever. Only Saturdays." Jackie said, "Constantly every Saturday." It may look like there are issues about sex, but it's actually about intimacy. Lack of intimacy is the most common reason for relationship breakdown. It's the loss of intimacy that has partners become like roommates. And as that distance grows, they might look for connection elsewhere, shut down altogether, or take up late-night rendezvous with Ben and Jerry. Relationship and sexual dissatisfaction can show up as destructive behaviors in people's lives: rage, depression, over shopping. It doesn't matter whether you're doing it once a week, once a year, or once a day. Without intimacy, people feel lonely, isolated, and shame, like they're in a sexless relationship, even when they are getting some. Because sex and intimacy are not the same thing. Intimacy is when you feel safe to open up and show yourself fully. It's what makes you feel the love connection even when you're not physically together. It's the heart and home, the foundation of your relationship. Kevin and Jackie used to look forward to making love, but life happened, and now instead of making love, they make excuses. They've got a 3-step sex strategy: get in, get off, get out. It's a chore because something's missing: intimacy. And the thought of talking about us feels like it's going to bring up more issues. So they're walking on eggshells and they argue about, "Can you please take out the trash instead?" She's exhausted. He's taken up watching porn. So how do you increase intimacy and have more relationship and sexual satisfaction? Good communication is important. Therapy is great. But just talking doesn't really address your sex life. You need to bypass the trash argument triggers, drop resentment, and get back into a physical connection where you can lean into each other knowing everything's going to be okay. Jackie's an elegant executive with a to-do list and legs a mile long. The thought of sitting in an office with a therapist and just talking, saying, "I don't like the way he touches me," would drive her nuts, hurt his feelings, and certainly not help them. And a big guy like Kevin, he doesn't want to talk about feelings at all. He talks business. Emotional language is not for him. He wants to fix it and get back in the game. Intimacy, connection, and sex can't just be talked about. They need to be experienced. I'm going to share some tools that foster intimacy without using the F word: feelings. You know how when you're about to eat a delicious chocolate, you slow down and the sound and your salivary glands cue your whole body for memorable, delicious pleasure. Sounds good before you even taste it. I've discovered that that simple, sensual sound, can also dramatically increase intimacy, connection, and delicious sexual pleasure. When you make this sound together, your breathing, brain waves, and heartbeats synchronize. By matching frequencies, you've tuned in and turned on the station. It's that oh yes sound vibrating through your nervous system, up your spine to your brain, creating a physical state change, which is the definition of the word mood. Do you want to get in the mood? Oh. For something even better than chocolate. Is the sound of intimacy. Let's get in the mood together, shall we? You. I invite you to put your palm on your chest, and you'll feel your chest vibrate as we inhale and exhale 3 times. Are you ready? Inhale. Again. Last time. Could you feel it? So could Jackie, who was happy to make this sound. Women usually are. Kevin, on the other hand, couldn't feel it much at first, but he understood. Change her mind and her body will follow. So when she's wound up, he takes her in a hero hold by merely wrapping her in his arms and doing nothing else. He's her Superman. She feels safe to drop her defenses, her lists, and unwinds. His touch just the way she likes it. Present, firm, keeping his hands still, they and they sway. Kevin's beaming. They're in their own little world in a matter of a few breaths. This quick, simple hero hold can lead to a delicious kiss, replacing their former greeting. Mwah. Calling it a hero hold instead of a hug eliminates emotional triggers and gives clear instructions. Knowing that they both weren't talking makes them feel safe and builds their bodies' communication, trust, and bond, which are the very foundation of physical and emotional intimacy. Jackie also understood that Kevin, like many people, responds to a sense of purpose. So, will you please take out the trash? Became, will you please take out the trash for me? And she responds to feeling loved. So he says, I love it when you smile and make lasagna. She used to complain that a hug from him meant that he was going to start grinding on her and say, "Want to do it?" For her, the grind meant it's penis time. And it wasn't about them. It also triggered memories of unwanted sexual advances from her past. And Kevin complained that she never initiated. So now they set out an empty candy dish, and when one of them wants a little sugar, they put a candy in the dish. When the other agrees, they put in a candy too. Chocolates mean wanna, Jelly beans, let's do that thing. He can have a lollipop if I get licorice. Yep, that's right. You know who's initiating now, right? This allows them to wordlessly negotiate their intimate gameplay, and it makes their foreplay last all day. And so you know, anticipation is the best aphrodisiac. She's ready for more, but Kevin's having a hard time staying in the game. This is a common side effect of over-porning. The difference between porn and reality is porn is fantasy entertainment that you watch and masturbate to with a hand. And reality is a full-body contact sport, multi-sensory contact. You got to get your head in the game. Imagine you've been watching football on TV, at home, alone, in the dark, a lot, and suddenly tried playing on a field with a team. Right? Yeah, might not go as expected either. And it makes sense that he got used to watching as his way of finishing. And that's why sometimes he'd check out and go searching his brain for the scenario that would take him over the edge instead of staying with the delicious pleasure, softness of skin on skin and dimples and jiggles. People, enjoy. It all feels good. And if he checks out, she lovingly puts a hand on his chest and, wordlessly brings him back to connection without shame or breaking the mood. Too often, variety is only thought of as multiple partners. Allow variety to include all of your tools: imagination, tongues, fingers, and toys. Stay curious about what gives you pleasure, and you'll never get bored. Let's rename sex pleasure, because too often people equate sex with penetration, and orgasm is the goal. Orgasm is a climax of what? Your sexual pleasure. And believe it or not, it doesn't require an erection. Some of the best sex a woman's ever going to have has nothing to do with a hard-on, and I can prove it in one word: lesbians. Erectile challenges affect 40% of men in their 40s, 50% of men in their 50s. And the Height Report on Female Sexuality found that hardly any women orgasm from penetration anyways. So men, please, stop being so hard on yourselves. If that's the only tool you've got in your toolbox, you're already going into the job half-cocked. I want every man and woman to know that even with an unpredictable tool, you've got everything you need to get the job done well, be an amazing lover, and have a delicious, intimate sex life. Can I get an That's right. I want Kevin and Jackie and all of you to feel sexually confident. Are you ready? What makes a great lover is your ability to read your partner's pleasure. And what makes a great partner is your ability to express your pleasure to your lover. When you begin your intimate encounter with the sound mm-hmm, you're leveling the playing field by speaking the same language. Finally, as Kevin says, we're good. I know when she's happy. We argue less. It's easier to get over things when you're in a winning streak. He feels supported, grounded, and apparently he's a much nicer husband, father, boss, and friend. They're happy with their connection. They do that hero hold every day, twice on Saturday. And because she feels so safe with him, she's been able to release her trauma, her lists. They're having fun. Their candy's getting eaten. Their toolbox is filled with curiosity, rechargeable tools. A Superman cape and a Wonder Woman lasso for whatever's right for them. Because when you feel this secure in your intimate connection, you can negotiate anything as partners in pleasure or partners in crime. It created the home base, the connection that they were both longing for. And the world's a nicer place when you're satisfied. Better intimacy for her, better sex for him, and vice versa. Care for yourselves and each other. Explore pleasure in whatever way is right for you. Bring it on like chocolate and make your world a more delicious place. Can I get an mm-hmm? Mm-hmm.